Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of Straight Talk Whiskey. I'm Nick here with you as always. Thanks for joining us for episode number 83. Now, as you can see, we're not in the normal studios. If you've been following with the past few episodes, you'll know that we're not up that way anymore. So, apologize if the sound is a little echoey, but that's what I've got to deal with here. So, last time around, I believe we did, what the hell did we do? The double rye from High West, and before that we did the American Prairie Bourbon. So now what we've got for you is, get that off a second, the Campfire. So I know we skipped over the Rendezvous Rye if you're following along in that sequence, but haven't found it yet on the shelf, so that's why I'm not reviewing it yet. But Campfire has been one of the better known expressions from High West, and sometimes elusive for some people to find. I just happened to find this on local shelf nearby, which I haven't seen in a good long while, so I had to snatch that up while I could, as well as the Yippee-Ki-Yay, which we'll be reviewing next time. So, what do we got here in the Campfire? Well, it's a mix of both straight rye, straight bourbon, and some Scotch whiskey. Yeah, you wouldn't have thought that in a rye, but there you go. So the chemistry mash bill of the rye itself, High West goes with a high rye, not just barely legal like some people do with their 51% to call it, rye whiskey, but they've got 95% rye in that mash bill. With the bourbon, straight bourbon, they have 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley. Now, the Scotch whiskey, not really sure exactly what that is, but we know it's a peated Scotch. And all of those, the rye, bourbon, and Scotch, are going to be in the age range from 5 to 8 years. So that's what we've got. The whole backstory is on there if you've read it. The proprietor, as he's called, Dave Perkins, was over in Scotland at Brookloddie, and I believe for dessert after dinner one night and the breakfast the following morning, something along those lines, both included a course, if you will, that included peated Scotch into their cooking. So he thought, hey, why not try to put this into a rye and also put it in with bourbon because of those specific main flavor profiles of each. The rye, a well-aged rye being very floral and fruity, and bourbon having sort of the sweet savory notes, and then obviously the peat giving that smoky characteristic to it. So wanted to combine all those together, and this is what we got. Again, the proportions, I don't know, that's their secret. So, I'm not sure what the percentage is of each of those three, but there you have it. So, we've got a batch number, bottle number. I'm not going to read these off. Actually, I can't even read the batch number. One of the numbers on there just doesn't make sense. It looks like a K, but maybe that's how they do things. So anyway, it's not chill filtered, no coloring added, obviously. So, that's what we've got to go. So let's go in for the nose, get right to it. So on the nose, what I'm getting first is that sweet bourbon main characteristic, that savory honey barbecue note to it. I'm also getting a little bit of dried fruits, spicier in the sense of obviously a high rye content would give you in the nose. I'm getting that as well. And definitely a little hint of the peatier notes from the Scotch. I'm getting like a little bit of mint, a little bit of tobacco in there. Definitely a really earthy sense to the spicy fruit, if that makes any sense. And similar to like a blueberry and a blueberry pie or something not like that. Just really earthy and mixed with that sort of mint tobacco leaf of the peat is just really bringing out a really deep, rich, and I don't know if that's combined with sort of these sort of cinnamon type flavors, the honey, but it's making a really interesting example out of the blueberry sense that I get in here. So now let's go in for the taste. So you're really getting that progression of the three components to this whiskey. Starting out with the really sweet honey, caramel notes, moving into sort of like a toasted marshmallow kind of concoction, giving way to charred wood, toasted oak, charcoal notes, and then going into the fruitier components that we're picking up in the nose, the dried fruits, spicy, and then making way into sort of the tobacco-esque, minty, little methanol in their note from the peated Scotch. It's really interesting that a whiskey like this can be blended in such a way where all three of the components in it are equally showcased. It's not one overpowering the other with maybe a little hint of something that it says is in there, which I think is interesting as to the proportions that are in this, which they're not disclosing, and I think for good reason, because I think they found a really great balance between the rye, bourbon, and the Scotch in there, which is really phenomenal and certainly cannot be easy rather, to figure out. No, I'm not using any water with this 46%. How I like to drink this wouldn't be with water. I know sometimes I like to add a little bit of water, see if anything changes, opens up, leave it out on the table for 10-15 minutes, come back to it, see what happens. But in this case, I haven't done that, but it would be interesting to go back at a further date. Or if you yourself, have a cup of water or something, just slowly drop in some room temperature water, see if anything changes. But I really like the progression that's in there, and like I said, because I think that's the main highlight of this whiskey, is you're getting all three of those, the rye, bourbon, and Scotch in there. It's just really, really appealing. And Campfire, you can definitely see yourself sitting down at a campfire, as they say, with good friends or good looking people. So, let's talk about the finish, because I don't want to talk about that. The finish, the rye is really taking control. You have this really robust, spicy, peppery note, in the sense of ground pepper, not like red pepper or anything. Just a really spicy note that you get there. It's underlaid with a strong vanilla current running through it. Still a little hint of the tobacco-y mint mixed in with the blueberry, which is really interesting. But the finish is nice and long. It's really almost syrupy on the palate, not incredibly so. Not like Dad's Hat rye, which I've reviewed before, which had a really sort of thick finish to it. Certainly like an older Redbreast would have the same type of finish, or a Powers John's Lane would have in terms of finish, but just really, really long lasting and really sticking to those rye forward notes in the finish. And you almost get a sense, in thinking about the finish, of a maple syrupy kind of concoction. I'd be interested in adding a little bit of this to a maple syrup. It'd definitely make the French toast in the morning go a lot better. But so anyway, that's what we got going on here. If you've had this before, and if you're a fan of Highland Park or not Highland Park, wow, High West, just tell me what your favorite expression is out of all that they've done, because as you can see, I've gone on a little mini-series without officially claiming it to be so, but I have a couple more bottles of High West expressions, so we'll keep doing those until they run out, because I just really like the quality that I know I'm getting with each and every expression. So that's what I'll continue to do. So until next time, if you're going to drink, as always, drink responsibly, and see you next time.